Hey everybody, Motumbo here. Welcome back to the channel, and we are playing some more Historic here on Magic Arena. And again, another day, another deck for Decktember, and I'm really excited to be bringing you another Decktember deck in this great series. So let's just hop right into it. And today we are playing Big White Christmas. So huge shout out to Habeus Porpoise for this deck. Thank you for submitting this. This is basically a big white deck. Full of great synergies, full of powerful white spells, full of powerful colorful spells, and this should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to doing some pretty crazy things. There are some cards in here I like, some synergies that I enjoy, and yeah, super happy about it. So let's just hop right into this deck, and let's just start off with probably my favorite card in the deck, as most of you know, and that's going to be Lotus Field. Lotus Field, very powerful land. It actually taps for three manas of any one color. It does have hexproof. It enters battlefield tapped, unfortunately, and you have to sacrifice 2 lands when it comes into play. But luckily for us, Habeus Porpoise decided to put in a card in mono white that actually really works well with the Lotus Field, and that's going to be Brought Back. So Brought Back is a 2-mana instant. It says choose up to 2 target permanents that were put into your graveyard from play this turn and return to the battlefield. So what you can do is turn 1 play a plains, turn 2 play a plains, turn 3 tap those 2 plains for 2 white mana, play Lotus Field. Lotus Field comes into play, you sack those 2 plains, but you have 2 white mana floating, play Brought Back, they come right back into play, and it's like you didn't have to sacrifice anything. Pretty cool combo. It kind of replaces itself in the fact that, you get this 2 land back into play, kind of like Lotus Field, in a sense that it, draws you a card. So it's still really cool. I don't think it's as good as Blood Sun and Lotus Field, but again, it's another way to cheat in Lotus Field, and I am 100% okay with that. So let's just go down the list and talk about some things here. So we have 2 Authority of the Consuls. Creatures enter the battlefield tapped from your opponent's side, and you get a life every time a creature comes into play under their control. So a great way to stem the bleeding with these aggressive decks that are all over the place, and a great way to prevent creatures attacking that have haste, because they're going to come into play tapped and they can't attack you. We have 8 mana rocks here. We have 4 copies of Mind Stone. Again, great late game because you get to sacrifice to draw a card. We have 4 copies of Cold Steel Heart. Lets us choose a color when it comes into play. Obviously, we're going to choose white because we're playing Big White Christmas. Just another mana rock. We have 4 copies of Solemn Simulacrum. Lets us search a land coming into play. And then when it dies, we get to draw a card. 2 copies of Wrath. 4 copies of Doomscar. Doomscar is great. It's another Wrath of God, essentially. You get to foretell it for 2 colorless mana, and then you can cast it on turn 3 if you need to and just destroy all creatures. Actually is pretty powerful, and then foretelling actually puts it on into its own little zone, and it can't be discard out of your hand or anything like that. Still be countered, but yeah, still a great ability and a really powerful card. We have 1 copy of God Eternal Aketra, 5 mana, 3/6 with double strike, so a lot of damage, basically 6 power worth of attack whenever you get to attack with it. Another cool thing is whenever you cast a creature spell, we're going to be able to create 4/4 black zombie warrior creature tokens with vigilance. And anytime this dies or is put into exile from the battlefield, we can actually put it into our library 3rd from the top. So it's just going to always keep coming back. Really cool ability. Now, 1 card that we have not played in a really long time is going to be Cavalier of Dawn. And I used to love playing this card. The 5 mana 4/6 vigilance creature, so not only is it big and beefy, but it also has vigilance, so you're able to attack with it every turn and then also keep it back on defense because they're most likely not blocking it, or they're going to be chump blocking it later in the game. But on top of all of that, it has a really cool enter the battlefield ability. It says whenever it enters the battlefield, destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature, puts it into play. But then whenever this dies, we get to return an artifact or enchantment card from our graveyard to our hand. So that's really cool. We get to kill something, and then we also get to bring something back whenever it dies. Now, this last column is going to be a bunch of one-ofs, it looks like. We're just going to go down the list and hit on each one of these. So we have 1 copy of Valkyrie Harbinger, 6 mana, 4/5, flying, lifelink. At the beginning of each combat step, I'm sorry, let me reread that. At the beginning of each end step, if you gain 4 more life this turn, create a 4/4 white angel creature with flying and vigilance. We have 1 copy of Planar Bridge. This is a really powerful card. 6 mana. For 8 mana, you can actually search your library for a permanent card, any permanent card, and put it right onto the battlefield. Really powerful. And notably, you don't have to do this as as a sorcerer. You can do this at any time, even on your opponent's turn. So really, really powerful. 1 copy of Immortal Sun, 6 mana artifact, turns off planeswalkers, lets us draw an additional card during each of our turns. It makes our spells cost 1 mana cheaper and makes all of our creatures bigger by 1. Elish Norn, Grand Cenobite, 7 mana, 4/7, vigilance. We give our creatures +2/+2, and our opponent's creatures -2/-2. A really, really powerful card, and I would say the most powerful of the Praetors, or at least the most popular. 1 copy of Meteor Golem, because why would we not want to destroy something when this comes into play? 1 copy of Zetalpa, Primal Dawn. This is a giant elder dinosaur, 8 mana for a 4/8. Flying, double strike, vigilance, trample, and indestructible creatures. A lot to take in. Super powerful. This card is really powerful. It doesn't see a lot of play, obviously, because of the mana cost. But yeah, usually no matter what deck you're playing, if this is hitting play, you're probably winning. And then we have 1 copy of Ulamog. Ulamog, again, a 10 mana, 10/10, colorless spell. When you cast this spell, you get to exile 2 permanents. And again, that's when you cast it. If somebody counters this, you still get to exile 2 permanents. Really crazy. It's indestructible also. And then whenever you attack with it, your opponent has to exile the top 20 cards of their library. So even if they have chump blockers for this, because it doesn't really have any evasion, they can only chump block it, two times really, or 3 times at the most. They're just going to run out of cards and the game's going to be over because they're going to deck. So again, a lot of huge spells in this big white Christmas deck. A lot of fun, a lot of really cool interactions that we didn't even hit on yet. Brought Back is going to be able to interact with so many of our cards. We can brought back our Mind Stones when we draw cards, our Solemns when they die, our Cavalier of Dawns when they die, our Meteor Golems. That gets us an additional trigger when it comes back into play. That's great. Now, and again, Cavalier of Dawn, not only can we bring that back with Brought Back, it's also going to bring something back additionally. So we're going to get a lot of value out of a Cavalier of Dawn if we're able to potentially Wrath, or if we Wrath on our turn and then we Brought Back and then we kill something else and then we get something else back to our hand, maybe like another Solemn if we didn't bring that back as well. There's just a lot of great synergy with Brought Back in this deck, and really hoping that we can pull some of these off and show off what this deck can do. So yeah, with that being said, again, if you enjoy the video, the channel, the deck, Decktember, the whole feature, and if you want to be a part of Decktember, there's still time. So please make sure you're subscribed. So like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord. That is a very key, important piece to this. Join the Discord, head over to the Decktember channel, and submit your deck. And anything you do to help interact with the channel for free would be amazing. So, all right, so let's hop right into this deck, see how it does, and then we will tune it up and play it some more. So, all right, see you guys very quickly. All right, Big White Christmas brought to us by Habeus Porpoise. Thank you for the deck. Thanks for the build. Let's see how it rolls. Jack 9 J9. Right, that's an interesting name. So we can planes into authority. I mean, this hand's okay. It's not the greatest of hands, but I have a feeling our opponent's on like a Grixis build based on their sleeves. No, they're on mono blue aggro. Because why wouldn't they be? Why would they not be? Why would they not be playing a super competitive deck in the fun queue, right? Oh, they freeze up? Did they freeze up? Did you forget? Did you forget what you're doing? Hello? Did you forget how to magic? I mean, you're either playing a creature or a consider. And it's a consider, or maybe an opt, right? So I wonder what happens if they time out while they're doing that, right? Wash away. Or what? So bad blue. They are playing bad blue. I really want to make sure that we're actually hitting our land drop, so I'm just going to do it, right? I'm just going to play Lotus Field. If we need to, we can Wrath. Then we can start playing 5 drops. You can't target the old fielder. Oh, of course, of course. All right. Divide by 0. You did it. You've done it. One non-land permanent. Maybe we get that land? Do it right now. Come on. Come on, Jack 9. Yes. Oh. You're playing Demir. Okay, well, we're just gonna slam this. There's not a 1 mana creature counterspell that I could think of. There's probably a bounce spell, but right, wash away. No. Fade away, fading hope. You did it. You are living the dream. Interesting. Well, let's just nip that real quick. I do wish we had access to white mana. We could just bring it back, but fortunately for us, I'm going to try to bait out a counterspell here, because I feel like they value that card pretty highly. We don't really care about stuff getting countered. I don't really need to. I really just want to draw out counterspells. Sure. Definitely a card that we don't mind getting countered. We're only taking 3. I don't really know what our opponent's doing, but I know what we're doing, and that's unfortunately getting stuck on land. All right, definitely. All right, well, not a fan of what is happening here. Definitely not a fan. I mean, I think we lose, right? Or I'm just trying to figure out if we can bait out anything, or we go for it. Yep, put it back in our hand, and then we lose. So, oh, what a world we live in, right? Alright, well, we're going to concede because our opponent obviously has probably never played this deck before. And choices are hard, so draw 2, scry 2. I mean, you obviously win there, so. Alright, well, not a great start. Not a great start, but we're going to power through it, and we are going to keep going. See you in the next game. Alright, well. Hey, still game 2. We got to hydrate. Let's go. Alright. I am ready. I'm not ready for this, though. We have to mulligan. We're going to keep. And we are going to get rid of Zatalpa. Whatever his name is, or her name. Or more blue. All right. Please don't flip. Thank you. Dragon's Rage Channeler. I wouldn't mind wrathing this board away. I definitely would love to wrath this board away. So let's just nip that real quick. Yep. Why wouldn't you have another one? All right, so we are going to go ahead and play a Solemn. Sure thing. So you have Creature Instants. They left on top. Definitely take action here. And we're going to just go ahead and play this Lotus Field. So our opponent obviously has probably another Consider. Yep. Living the dream over there, friend. All right, they got 3 instant land creature. 1 more for Delirium. Yep. You're doing it. To the top, huh? I draw another Consider. Okay. Really? Immolation? What is that in the deck for? Alright, well, we have to play this, right? Because if we potentially hit an untapped land, we do get to do planar bridge stuff. So this is pretty scary, right? Our opponent is playing a weird version of Is It? Oh, that's kind of taunting to us. I don't want to play Lotus Field. Because I don't want to sack 2 Lotus Fields to play 1 Lotus Field. Doesn't seem good. Alright, so next turn we do get to, like, I think Meteor Golem. We get to Zatalpa. But we do have to worry about getting just burned out, right? Fading Hope, that's something to consider. So, another Curious Obsession, okay. You're doing it, Peter. Doomscar. I could just cast Doomscar. I don't think I want to, though. I could do this at any time at instant speed. So I'm kind of just gonna hope that we I think I do it here. Don't stifle me. Gonna have to be pretty good. Not gonna be Ulamog because it's not a cast. Not casting. I think it has to be Golem. Alright. Still alive. We are no longer alive. Well, not great. Opponent had to cheese us out. I mean, that's a thing that happens, right? So, playing competitive decks in the non-ranked queue still boggles my mind. It really does. So, all right. Well, we are unfortunately 0-2 at this, but remember, at the end of the day, everybody, this is a game, and we just gotta, what they say, keep on trucking. So, let's hop right into the next game. Let's go. All right, game number 3. Will we get a win? Will we go 0-3? Who knows? Find out on the next episode of Opponent Goes First. Well, unfortunate. Opponent also not queued up to the table yet. All right, that's a little bit better. I think we can keep this. All right, so we could turn 2, Cold Steel Heart, turn 3. Yeah. This is fine. Opponent's on the mull. Maybe they're mulling to victory while we play Simon. Do. All right, mono white life gain. Mono white life gain. They'll be at 47 life here in 3 more turns. I would love to see a Wrath. All right, so they're on the no land, huh? No land. I think this is better. This gives them 2 life, but it does keep them from attacking. We get a land. And then next turn we can Immortal Sun. So we'll have 6 mana, Immortal Sun. And then I think that just sets us up for some good turns. Everything's cheaper. Just a 2/2. It's pretty good. Pretty good, my friend. All right, well, we're kind of keeping up, right? You got a 4/4, I got a 3/3. This is almost starting to kind of... All right, so you have a collected company. I'm 100% sure of that. No. Okay. Ow. Rude. Rude. Well... have some life, no tax. I do feel like this is a very winnable game. 1 Wrath here, and this game is just over. Oh, look at that. This has Vigilance, Trample, Double Strike, all the things. So, I mean, heck, we're getting in. This is 13 damage if they take it. Still at 26, still a respectable life total. Cast this Wrath of God, draw a card. Opponent might scoop here. No scoops. All right. I mean, we have a... Yep, that's what I thought. We have a double striker. They either have to block or they're never going to get back up to 27 life. So, hey, we got one. That's all that matters. We got a win here. So what we're going to do now is we are going to go talk about what we thought about this deck, make some changes, and then play a few more games. So let's head on over and let's discuss. All right, so Big White Christmas. What are our thoughts on this deck? Well, I do like the idea of a just a big mono white deck. This is it does have the structure to really be something that has a lot of potential to it. I'm not a fan of the brought back Lotus Field combo. I think it's not as good, obviously, as a Blood Sun or something along those lines. But I do think there is an easier way in mono white to cheat a Lotus Field into play, and we will most likely be exploring that in our rebuild. I've already got a few things just kind of brewing in my head. But I think the main issue with this deck is going to be that there are so many one-ofs. So what I'm most likely going to do is I'm going to go back, I'm going to relook at just a lot of the different one-ofs, see what we're playing. Obviously, I can see it in front of us, but I'm going to look at what we have available that's just not in this deck yet, and we're just going to rework some numbers. Again, I'm a fan of pretty much all of these cards, but I don't think that playing as many one-ofs is actually going to get us to where we want to be. So obviously in that last game, we won on the back of just powering out as a Talpa on the back of an Immortal Sun, because we were able to make all of our spells cheaper. We were able to draw extra cards a turn. And then obviously a 5/9, flying, double striking, vigilance, trample, indestructible dinosaur is going to be hard for a life gain deck to deal with, especially once you play that and then Wrath and they have nothing. Going to be pretty hard for them to deal with. So, and I do know that Brought Back is not in here necessarily just for the Lotus Fields. There's a lot of other synergy in this deck, with Cavalier of Dawns, wrathing those away, Solemn Simulacrums getting wrathed away and then bringing those back, sacking Mindstones. I know there's more synergies in here other than just Brought Back Lotus Field. But again, I just don't think that we find a home for Brought Back in this type of deck, because I think there's a lot more potential in a big mono white deck. So like I mentioned, I am going to rework some of the numbers and see what we have access to. Again, I'm not going to look into adding any additional colors in this deck. I do like the theme of this. Especially with the name, Big White Christmas. We want to keep this mono white, and we want to keep it true to what it's trying to do, and that is just to play huge white cards, huge spells in general, and just really have a good time with it. So yeah, so that's my thoughts on this. Again, really cool deck, really cool design, and that's the fun thing about this, is the fact that with Decktember, when you submit your deck, you may not have access to 4 of a mythic or 4 of a rare. For example, and again, Elish Norn was part of a anthology that if you purchased the anthology, you got 4 of these. However, knowing that Habeus Porpoise, maybe they didn't they weren't able to get in on time. They weren't able to buy this for whatever reason, whether it's being they just missed the opportunity, they just didn't want to purchase it, whatever those were. Maybe they had to craft this wild card, and with the wild card, and they only had the one wild card. So a lot of reasons, and I really think that's part of the fun of Decktember is you're submitting your deck that you like to play, however it is, based on whatever cards you have, and then I'm able to build your deck as is, and then I can take my collection, still not a full collection by any means on Arena, but then make some changes to it. I think that's part of just the fun of this. So with that being said, let me go work on some ideas, and then again, with the magic of the internet and technology, we're going to be looking at a new deck here in just a few seconds. So see you guys real quick. All right, well, welcome to the tune-up, and here we have Big White Christmas version 2.0 or version 2. Again, thanks to the power of editing and technology, we are ready with this deck. So I know just a few seconds ago we were talking about having a new deck, but here it is. And we have a lot of the same cards, but we really just, again, shuffled around some of the numbers, added in a few different cards, took out some of the other ones because, again, with the synergies and whatnot, and are still focusing on casting big, dumb spells. Because, again, Big White Christmas, we're going to be casting big white spells, big colorless spells. Nonetheless, all the same thing. So let's really look at what we did and what we're trying to do here, besides just casting big giant spells. So as we mentioned, the first thing with the previous deck is there was the synergy with Lotus Field and then the card brought back. Well, like I mentioned, there is I think a better way to cheat out a Lotus Field, and that is going to be with Strict Proctor. So Strict Proctor is a 1/3 for 2 mana. It has flying. It says whenever a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability to trigger, counter that ability unless its controller pays 2. So since playing Lotus Field enters the battlefield, that does trigger the ability to sacrifice 2 lands. So if we play Strict Proctor on 2, and then on turn 3 we can play Lotus Field, and it will we can just choose not to pay the 2 mana to sacrifice those land, and it'll come into play. On top of that, that does actually give us a blocker and a little bit of aggression if we want to get in early and start pinging for 1 against these other decks that just don't really do anything on the first few turns. So I do think this is going to be an upgrade. And since we took out the brought-backs, we did take out the other synergies that I saw on the deck with the Sad Robot, and as well as the 4/6 with Vigilance, whose name just escaped me for some reason right now. So Solemn Simulacrum and why can't I think of it? Cavalier of Dawn. So again, we left in the Mind Stones because Mind Stone is great ramp. We're playing big dumb spells, so we still want to keep in ramp. So that's why we have Mind Stones. We have Cold Steel Hearts as well. We do have Authority of the Consuls. Still want to keep these in against these quick aggressive decks. We did add in Heliod's Intervention. We put in 2 of these, multiple reasons. This is a dual use card. We get to either decide if we want to destroy artifacts or enchantments with it, or if we need to, on a pinch, we can gain a whole bunch of life just to stay alive and do things for a lot longer. Hopefully get in some additional turns. So that should hopefully be helpful. We did keep in the Rats and the Doom Scars. Now, you may have noticed that we did take out our 1 copy of the Immortal Sun. So it does reduce it does reduce spell cost, and it does make our creatures bigger. However, since we're not playing a bunch of creatures, we don't really care about that. We really just care about drawing as many cards as possible, and with the side effect of even gaining life to keep us alive. So we're going to actually play 4 copies of Cosmos Elixir. So this is actually going to be, I think, a huge upgrade for our deck, because we have more rats in this deck than we did in the previous version, as we'll get to those here in a second. But Cosmos Elixir gives us the ability to play multiples and have multiples of them in play at the same time, where you can only have 1 of the Immortal Sun in play. So Cosmos Elixirs does give us life every turn, and then once we actually get past 20 life, we're going to be drawing multiple cards a turn, and I think that's just going to give us a little bit of a better chance. We did kind of change up our big payoff spells. We're going to go over those right now. However, first I want to go over Realm Cloak Giant. So Realm Cloak Giant is a 7 mana 7/7 vigilance creature. However, it's also a Wrath of God. So for 5 mana, it destroys all non-giant creatures. So, another 5 mana Wrath. So another way to destroy all the creatures in play if we're playing against those aggressive decks. And then it will go on a little adventure, and then it'll come back as a 7/7, or it'll just get cast as a 7/7. Either way, big white spell that we want to be casting, I thought was pretty on point with the big white Christmas theme. And then we just have 2 of each of the other big white payoffs that we had in the other deck. So 2 copies of Elesh Norn, 2 copies of Ulamog, and then we decided to add 2 copies of Ugin because having this Ugin in play is not really going to hurt us. Obviously, Ugin's great to have in play all the time. It is kind of a cheesy win condition. However, it's not going to really remove any of our stuff if, we don't really have any early white spells other than Strict Proctor, but by that point, we don't really care about Strict Proctor. So kept the lands exactly the same, so still playing 24 land. So 24 land, 8 land ramp, and a bunch of big white spells. So that is Big White Christmas version 2. Hopefully, we'll get at least one additional win than we got in the last round. But either way, again, Magic's fun. Have fun while you're playing it. So let's hop right into these games. Let's see what happens. We'll see you all at the wrap up. All right, well, it's time to find out if we made this deck better or worse. Either way, I am having a lot of fun playing it. So again, Habeus Porpoise, thank you so much for this list. And interesting. We go first. Okay. All right. I am a little concerned that they're playing Rakdos, so I don't necessarily want to Strict Proctor if they can just Crocs us, right? Let's find out what they're running over there. Okay, so it's not a Rakdos build. Hee. All right, perfect. So we're gonna go ahead and play out Strict Proctor. We have a blocker, unless they enchant it, which they do not. So, all right. So we're gonna start off by playing this on white. That way we don't have to click any spells. Then I think from here we're going to be good. However, it is going to be a little hard to deal with these blink moths. Perfect, okay. Sure thing. Do it to it. Do something. I don't think there's anything they can do here for a colorless mana. You're not a blink moth, right? So. Again, it was very good that they did not activate Blink Moth Nexus as an artifact first and then pump the Steel Overseer. That would have been a little bit of an issue. But I think overall, we're going to be fine. Just need our opponent to do something. Hello? Did you forget that we were in the midst of a game? Opponent. So while we're waiting on our opponent, we will have 7 mana next turn, so we can cast the cast off version or side of Realm Cloaked Giant, and then follow it up with a Strict Proctor. So we basically have more board presence. I hope our opponent just casts a spell here, but they don't. Cosmos Elixir is actually pretty good. But like I mentioned, I don't really want to give them any additional life, so I don't want to just attack in. And then we get that sweet, sweet animation. I love it. So, next turn we get to get down a Cosmos Elixir. They probably buy Lotus. Oh, no, okay. Oh, sure thing. Sure thing. We don't actually even need it, but you got to pay mana for that, my friend. No attacks. So we're going to draw and... Oh, perfect. We're getting there. Steel Overseer's pretty good. Ginger Brute's pretty good. Okay. We're going to block the 2, take 1. And let's see. This is better. This becomes a target immediately. No attacks. And we have a Doomscar. This game is on lockdown right now, so pretty sure we got this with absolutely no question. I think I just block. Don't really care about that. I think if we do it that way. Plus, I don't want to actually Wrath yet. Do we even play this? So we're gonna just bait out a Wrath. So they're gonna get in for 5. Yeah. I think this is fine. We're gonna draw 2 cards here. They're gonna have to attack down. That's gonna gain us a life. They have to go after Ugin. And then I think, honestly, I think we Wrath now. And what's so good about this is they are completely ignoring our life total. Oh, this is a huge... Yeah, I think that was the play there. That's going to kill basically all their creatures. We play this down. They can't really attack with anything. And then at that point, we just bolt the Ginger Brute. So it dies and they only have a 0/2 Ornithopter like normal. And then they never recover. As soon as they play Lurrus, it dies. So great, great, great first game. Really great pairing, and unfortunate mess up for them. Because again, this is a triggered ability and our Strict Proctor countered it. So, all right, on to game number 2. Yep. Great way to start it off. Great way to start it off. Celine, welcome. All right, so what are we doing? I think we keep this. Maybe we draw a Proctor by like turn 3 or 4. So for right now, we're just going to get down a couple of these friends. They might be on a Niv Mizzet deck. Yeah, looks like they are. Looks like we got lucky. So the one good thing about this over Blood Sun, oh sure, is that the Lotus field is actually indestructible, right? And that's a little unfortunate. So if they wouldn't have killed it, we would have had another Lotus field. That would have been pretty sick. I don't think I want a Wrath here. I don't even think I want to... I don't even think I want to tuck it, right? Like, I think if I foretell this, then that's a tell that I have another one. I think it's better for them just to draw, right? Really like for them to play a second one. And we're probably just going to gain 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14 life. Probably just going to gain 14 life here at the end of the turn. Also, Blood Sun, these would be coming into play untapped. They'd actually be casting relevant spells. There just must be nothing they want to get rid of. That's pretty interesting. All right, X equals 7. Yeah, I mean, I honestly got so 4, 7, 8, 9. 8, 9, 10, 3, 7. All right, no cards in hand. So Thought Seizes are dead, but again, I don't think that deck plays Thought Seizes. Yep. You have successfully Niv Mizzed. Vanishing Verse, it's kind of gross. This is a hard deck to beat. If we do this into this, then they just get to binding us. I don't really hate it, honestly. We get to keep a Wrath in our hand. Sure. Sure, we're forcing them to use their cards. Binding doesn't do anything other than just get... So. Yep. I think I just want to draw a Cosmos Elixir. Wow. Wow. I would very much just like to keep drawing Cosmos Elixirs. I'll just keep saying it, right? We really want to just hit... yep. Good hit for you. Gotta watch out for next turn. All their creatures getting Death Touch. Yep. Don't want to sit with a card in her hand. It's pretty good. Get a Realm Cloak Giant. That's pretty good. See what they get. Nothing great. Yeah, don't think we can beat a Scarab God, honestly. Sure. I mean, Realm Cloak Giant doesn't really do anything. Okay. Alright, well, we were wrong. Does their deck play a card? This is a colorless card, so Vanishing Verse can't hit it. I'm not sure what they have. So with Niv Mizzet, you know, they have so much utility because they're able just to play every color very easily. Okay. Definitely it's a good place to start if you don't have an answer. That was a pretty quick grab. All right. I mean, they also have another way to dig for cards with Prismari Command. They could draw 2, kill one of our artifacts. I mean, I'm going to exile 20 cards. You're going to try to burn us out maybe with like a Leer? This is definitely a possibility. I'm going to take a look and see what was. Nothing great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they have 5 mana left over. I don't think that's enough to burn us down from 16. All right. Another Niv Mizzet. Not too sure what they can get. Okay. I mean, yes, you can block, but did you take into account milling? I don't. Yep. Ooh. So Ulamog. We got him. It's been a while since we've won with an Ulamog. It is a cheesy way to win, but sometimes these decks that are pretty cheesy, that should be playing in the ranked queue, they deserve these horrible cheesy cards. So, well, 2-0. Let's go for the old 3-0 sweep with Big White Christmas version 2. Let's go. All right. Well, things are looking up. Going for that 3-0. Pretty stoked. Crush Television. Holy moly. That's an interesting name. All right, so we got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. We're keeping. Opponent is on Goblins. This is actually a pretty good hand against Goblins. Come on, Crush Television, be Goblins. We don't ever actually want to play against Goblins, but come on, your bat is even telling you to hurry up. Oh Lord. Discard, huh? Discard. Take a Wrath or an Authority. Who on you? Oh, we drew the card. We drew the card that they saw, so. They have to take the second one now. 100%. How crazy would it have been if we would have drawn a third one? Well... Good news is I think that paying 4 life to prevent us from playing Lotus Field is perfectly fine. Vault Scourge? What are you playing? What's funny about Vault Scourge is that it's an enchantment. Or, I'm sorry, it's an artifact. We could just kill it with Heliod's Intervention if we need to. Sure. You have a 1-1. We're about to have a bunch of 1-1s over time, so... Totally fine with this trade back and forth here. Rush Television, what are you? What are you playing besides slowly? See if they have, I think they have removal in their hand. We could still make 1-1s. Sure thing. Sure thing. You gotta love that, right? They could also very well be on a cast a whole bunch of black spells deck for our daily quest. You are doing it. All right, well. Interesting.
You want me to fight? Oh, please
Okay. Interesting. So let me read this. So until your next turn, whenever an opponent attacks you and or planeswalkers you control, they discard a card. So I only have to discard 1 card to attack to deal 2 damage to that. I'm totally fine with it. So I want to go ahead and get this down. I mean, I'm just going to discard this Wrath of God that they know about. Hmm. Yeah, I don't hate that. Davriel is really weird. The thing about Davriel is he doesn't really have a horrible payoff, right? I mean, we're gonna Wrath now. All right, so we are now working our way to, yeah.
Better to deal with me than with demons.
Yeah, Davriel just doesn't have a good payoff, right? Obviously, drawing 3 cards is great. And then, all right, so our creatures perpetually got larger. What does this do on the other side? Okay. So what does this do? When it transforms, target opponent reveals their hand. You can choose a non-land card from it if you do. 3, 4. We're just going to gain 4 life. Now you don't get to draw a card, right? You've done it. That's a good card. I definitely don't want that getting discarded. One of our payoffs.
Oh, please behave yourselves.
Opponent conceded. They had no idea what we had, but I do feel like we were going to win that game. All right, well. Awesome. 3-0 with this deck. Pretty stoked. Again, I mean, ramping into big creatures is super powerful. So let's head to the wrap up and let's talk about this. All right, everybody, welcome back to the wrap up, and we had so much fun playing this deck. Again, huge shout out to Habeus Porpoise for submitting Big White Christmas. Had a lot of fun. We went 1 and 2 with the original build that we see on the screen, but then we did rework it and played 3 more games. And with this version of the deck, we went 3 and 0. And again, it was a lot of fun. I do think we fine-tuned it. I do think that we kind of kept it along the same lines of what we were trying to do. We're trying to just cast big, dumb, white, or colorless spells. And I do think that our version actually helped us do that. So we did add more wraths in the form of the Realm Cloak Giant. We did add, we still kind of kept the big payoffs the same, even though we had to take out a lot of the one-ofs. I do think the one-ofs kind of hurt the deck, but then again, if you don't have access to all of these cards, you may only have one-ofs. So again, it's situational, but I'm just showing you what I built with what I had. So again, 2 Praetors, 2 Realm Cloak Giants, 2 Ugins, 2 Ulamogs as the payoffs. 4 Realm Cloak Giants. I'm sorry, I don't remember what I just said. So we added more rats in the form of the Realm Cloak Giant. We added more ways to draw cards and gain life with the elixir. We added more ways to destroy artifacts and enchantments with the Heliod's intervention. And then we took out the brought-backs and put in the strict proctors. Again, for the Lotus fields, we still wanted to be able to cheat those into play. And we actually did get to see additional value in one of our games when our opponent tried to portable hole our proctor, and then the trigger of when it comes into play actually got countered because of the proctor's ability. So kind of got double value there. We got our Lotus field into play, and then on right after that, we basically countered them removing our creature with the portable hole because of its own ability. So really happy there. Authority of the Consuls are still great. Didn't get much use out of them. But I do think, again, when you play, more than a single copy of a card, playing 4 ofs and whatnot, you are going to make the deck a little more consistent as in regards to drawing those cards. Because then again, if you're playing a bunch of 1 ofs, you're not really necessarily going to draw those 1 ofs as you want to. Because, situationally they might be good. You might be sitting there saying, okay, I could really use my Immortal Sun right now because my opponent has 2 Planeswalkers in play. But then you might end up drawing your Elish Norn, and then unfortunately there's just nothing you could do there because you drew that one of where maybe if you played 2 Immortal Suns instead of 2 Elish Norns or 2 of whatever, again, situationally, it might have worked out for you. So that's why you kind of do have to work on your numbers a little bit. It will make your decks a little more consistent. But again, it's up to your collection, what you have, what you're willing to spend your wild cards on. And again, I have a lot of wild cards still. I have a pretty thorough collection. Still missing a ton of cards because I did miss some sets a couple sets ago while I was busy working. But again, remember, I want to reiterate at the end of the day, this is a game. Play what you enjoy playing. Don't let people pressure you into switching your deck. You want to do, again, what you have the most fun doing. I'm sitting here telling you that you may make your deck more consistent by playing 4 of a copy of a card or 2 or 3 of a copy of a card over a 1 of. But at the end of the day, if you switch to that and you're not having fun because you're always drawing 1 card and you don't necessarily like drawing that card all the time, don't do that. Again, do what you love to do what you enjoy playing the most. And you're going to get the most enjoyment out of this game. And you're going to get the most enjoyment out of most things in life if you really follow that. So, yeah. But that has been Big White Crispus. Again, thank you, Habeus Porpoise, for submitting this deck. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad that I got the chance to play this version, switching it from this other version. So, yeah. And if you enjoyed the deck, the video, the channel, Decktember as a whole, please like, comment, subscribe. Check out all the cool links down below. Join the Discord. Still time to submit your Decktember deck. So do that in the Decktember channel in the Discord. And again, anything you can do to help join the, to help with the channel. Any of those things I listed are free and they literally only take you a second. So that would be amazing. With that being said, everybody, please stay safe. Stay awesome. Happy Decktember. We will see you next time.